That Just Happened is the name of the show. This is Reviews for Lazy People. We talk about it once we get around to it. This week's episode is White Gemstones Invincible Squad Born Again. It's a long one. Yes, there was not an episode of That Just Happened last week because I was busy with like day job things and family things, and so that's just kind of the way it panned out. So we got a double episode this week. We got to talk about all the things we were going to talk about last week, and then also the new things that have happened this week. Thankfully, it was not busy as far as consumption of the arts and the content and stuff, so there's not as much added to this week's as there was going to be for last week. But yeah, we do have a lot of music to talk about, and that's where we're going to start things off, is the new music that happened. So we're going to start with last week's new music and then get into this week's. First up is a band called Envy of None, and the name of the song that they released is The Story. We talked about the fact that Alex Lifeson, this is his current project, Alex Lifeson from Rush. But yeah, it's his current project. New record is called Stygian Waves. It's out now. The song is not what you would expect from the dude who was playing in Rush. It's kind of radio rock. It's very ethereal feeling, so it's really cool, like as far as radio rock goes, but it is still radio rock, so mild recommend, I guess. Our next one is from Sleep Token, Emergence. They released this one. Again, they released this one over a week ago at this point, so I've listened to it actually a couple of times now. Usually by the time we get to this, I've only listened once, but now it's been about at least two times. This is what you were expecting out of Sleep Token. This is kind of like taking notes. Starts out a little bit ballady, which was kind of weird. I don't know that, I mean, I've listened to most of their catalog at this point, not necessarily actively or with any sort of critical ear, so maybe I've missed something that they did that was more ballady, but this one starts out like a ballad and then definitely is not by the time you get to the end of it. But new vocal direction this time around too was really interesting. I feel like it was a little more heavy on the effects than previous records. I don't know, it's just different. And that's kind of been one of the things that Sleep Token shines at, is doing different things with their vocals. So very interesting to see the change in direction. Is this going to make you a fan if you're not already a fan? Probably not. Are you going to have some sort of appreciation for it though because of the interesting dynamics? Yeah, sure. It's a pretty hearty recommend. Like I can dig it. I see why this is the first track that they released off the new record. Then let's talk about the new Malevolence track. It's called If It's All the Same to You. The video features Bricktop from the Snatch movie. I think he's done a couple of Guy Ritchie movies, this actor, but you'll know him probably best from Snatch as Bricktop. And he's kind of playing a very similar character in the music video, so that's pretty freaking cool. But this is kind of like hardcore metalcore like you would expect, and it's the UK version of it, so it's, I don't know, a little bit, it feels a little different, but still feels right at home either way. Not exactly something that shines in the genre, but definitely something that gets you going. So pretty good recommend on this one as well. Next comes from a band that I have honestly never heard of, and the only reason that we're talking about it is because I was super intrigued by the name of the band. It is Pigs, 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 Pigs. That is the name of the band, that many times of the word. The name of the song is Glib-Tongued. Sorry, first day with the new tongue myself. It is featuring LP from Run the Jewels, producer extraordinaire and also lyricist from time to time, as it seems. The third song from this record, it is their forthcoming 5th studio record, Death Hilarious, will be released on the 4th of April. It's an interesting, like, doomy kind of track. I wasn't necessarily expecting that from something that was going to feature LP, nor from a band that called themselves Pigs 7 times. I was kind of expecting a little bit more hardcore, something that was politically minded, though LP being involved is definitely politically minded, and the title of the song, Glib-Tongued, implies politics, and there's definitely politically motivated lyrics in here for sure. I felt like it was going to be a little bit more overt and a little bit more upbeat, but that's just my expectations, and they were definitely wrong. The bits from LP are more spoken word even than rap, but either way, it's super interesting and definitely worth a listen, if not a purchase. But go listen to it, follow the link in the description, and we're gonna move on. From there, we have a new band called Face Yourself, a new song rather from a band called Face Yourself. The name of the song is Predatory. This is definitely tech death. It's very chaotic. I don't know that I would quantify this as deathcore, though I'm pretty sure I saw somebody else do that. It definitely is a little bit uneasy to listen to, but it grows on you as the song progresses. So, I don't know, if for no other reason than pure fascination, go listen to this one. I legitimately dug it, though. Face Yourself, Predatory is the name of the song. Next up, we have a new track from the Callistyle Boys. New, again, within the last 2 weeks, so not super new, I guess, anymore. But this is, speaking of ballads, this is about as much of a ballad as I've ever heard the dudes in the the folks, the guys, the people in Callistyle Boys do. I definitely don't hate it. It's kind of, I mean, this is more evidence of that. I said it last time we talked about the Callistyle Boys. This is just a bunch of theater kids who listen to way too much Dillinger Escape Plan, want to incorporate those two elements of their personalities together, and I'm 100% here for it, especially on this track. Go check out Lemon from the Callistyle Boys. And then we have A Legion. The Swarm is the name of the track. These guys are just too damn good. The guitar riff on this track is like legitimately makes your fingers hurt just listening to it, and I super appreciate music that makes me think about the difficulty of playing it while I'm listening, if that makes any sense. Again, as much as I didn't want to really like these guys, the more they put out, the more I do. And this is a prime example of why you should probably be listening to A Legion. Go check out The Swarm. Wholeheartedly recommend. It brings us into new music that was this recent week. First up on that list is Buck Cherry. First Day, new tongue, like I said. The name of the song is Roar Like Thunder. This feels much more like the first record, the one with For the Movies and Lit Up. But still, it's Buck Cherry, so how much can you really enjoy it? This is going to get a lot of radio play. This is going to get a lot of butt rock radio play, and people are going to dig the hell out of it. This is some of the more competent stuff they've put out in recent years, but it's not going to change your mind on who Buck Cherry is. So from there, let's talk about The Haunted. Ooh, this is the one that I really wanted to talk about. Warhead is the name of the track. That's how you do that. Ola England and company are just coming back from 8 years of hiatus and laying it down. They're saying, you know, some of you kids have never listened to our music, have never seen us play this stuff live, and we're about to rip your faces off, and you're going to pay us money and enjoy us for it. So yeah, The Haunted is probably some of the best, like, Swedish tech death, metalcore, whatever the hell subgenre you want to pigeonhole them in, they're at the top. From there, we have The Funeral Portrait. The name of the track is Holy Water. It is featuring Ivan Moody from Five Finger Death Punch, formerly of Motograter. I like to throw that little bit in because Motograter is the superior band in my opinion. But yeah, really interesting here because I didn't know that Shinedown was a band that we wanted to emulate. And that is exactly what the dudes in Funeral Portrait are doing. Ivan, as always, has an incredible voice. Even here, he has an incredible voice. His performances really are second to none. Ivan Moody is a great vocalist. He just chooses to make really mediocre music. And this is a great example of that mediocrity. Just rip-off of a throwback of a rip-off. Like, the poor man's Shinedown is not doing anything for me. So next up we have Caliban, another great band that I was super stoked is putting out new music. The name of this track is Dear Suffering. It is featuring Joe Bad, who is the vocalist from Fit for an Autopsy, which is a weird pull on the behalf of Caliban because, like, hey, Caliban's vocalist is pretty damn good. I really dig their stuff. Solid Caliban overall, but, like, the interesting thing comes in, like, Joe Bad's vocals are really just there for layering, and he doesn't really have a traditional, like, feature spot. He's just kind of there in the mix. Not that it's bad, it just seems like a waste of his potential of his abilities, when it could have just been the dude from Caliban just ripping through this song by himself, and it would have been equally as effective. So again, not a bad thing, just a strange thing. Go check out the new Caliban. It's absolutely worth it. And then we have, oh boy, speaking of features that make no sense, we have a band called Dead, D-E-D. The name of this song is Until I Die, and it is featuring Chris Motionless from Motionless in White, as you expect. Yeah, this is mediocre metalcore at its most mediocreest. And I legitimately, even watching the video, was like, wait, we're to the end of this. Where the hell was Chris Motionless in any of this? I couldn't necessarily pick his voice out for anything, nor did I really see him in the video. So does he know that his name is being featured in this track? Like, I don't get it. Maybe I just I'm just that jaded when it comes to my metalcore, but like, this is, I would say, steer clear. Don't even waste your time. But it's just me and I'm an asshole, so let's move on. All right, so now let's talk about the shows and the things. We have White Lotus, Season 3, Episode 6 and Episode 7. So Episode 5 and Episode 6, that's my bad. Episode 5 is the Sam Rockwell episode where we get introduced to Sam Rockwell's character. I don't remember the character's name, so we're just going to keep referring to him as Sam Rockwell. That was quite the reveal. Wow, but it was highly unexpected. Walton Goggins' reaction in the scene is priceless. Like, I almost feel like, and I don't think this is honest, but it almost feels like they hid that portion of the script from Goggins so that they could get like an honest, real-time reaction from him in the moment. So when Rockwell just rips into the whole ladyboy thing and playing with his own sexuality and stuff, like, it really feels like Goggins is a great actor, so like very likely this is just him being a great actor. But like, the look on his face and his reaction to that story looks legit. Looks like he's not acting, just like he had never heard any of those words in that sequence before and is a little taken aback. So yeah, Episode 5 was weird. And then you have the brothers kissing, which then we find out in Episode 6 was a lot more than just kissing. The soldiers from the nothing really. All right, so again, we've talked about this before about the White Lotus. Like, every episode goes really freaking slow, and then you get into the final 2 episodes and then everything kind of peaks all at once. That's how the other 2 seasons have gone. That's how this season seems to be going. We have a bit of a setup that we're dealing with in those mercenaries from the first episode, which was the leap forward in time. It seems that we're almost back to that point. So now we have the question of, well, who the hell were those mercenaries? The mercenaries, the soldiers, whatever the hell they were, I think they are there because of the death of the hotel owner, the guy who's sick. His wife is the one that's actively running the hotel and stuff. She's the singer and the actor and whatever. Goggins is at his house in Episode 6. He doesn't think he wants to kill him, but judging by the trailer for the next episode, it looks like he's probably going to kill him. So the mercenaries, the soldiers, are coming to find Goggins, it would seem. So yeah, very interesting. Like, the intrigue is definitely what this show excels at. So it's doing it. It's doing the thing. We have 2 more episodes left. We have Episode 7 this week and then Episode 8 next week. And I can't say don't watch this, because it is, like I said, the intrigue is for sure there. This feels a little bit more well thought out than something like From, which again, I really dig From. But at times I have to agree with what Tim Pool says. I don't think he's 100% accurate, but I think at times they take what should be 2 hours worth of content, 2 to 3 hours worth even in the case of From. They take that and then stretch each of those hours over the course of a season. So you have 8 hours of content in what should have been a single hour of content. It definitely feels like that. And I think White Lotus has a similar issue. I just think it's to a much lesser degree. So if you can deal with the fact that it moves pretty slow, then yeah, I would say it's definitely an interesting watch. We have a new Suicide Squad anime. We've talked about it in the news show when it was announced and when they released trailers and launched and things. Now I've watched the first 3 episodes, and like, this is a lot more solid than I thought it was going to be. We have very interesting takes on Joker and Clayface. I don't know how I feel about the Joker, aside from the really awesome scene that we got of him in his Joker mobile. Joker mobile has no steering wheel. The way he steers his Joker mobile in Suicide Squad Isekai is by playing the piano. The piano is what steers it through the streets of Gotham. Like, that is, I'm honestly surprised, like, we haven't gotten something that unconventional dealing with the Joker before this. Like, that's a really cool addition to that character. And then also the Clayface character in this show. At first, you don't think he's Clayface. They don't really give his name, so you don't have any real reason to assume that he's Clayface because he's not walking around in the monster form, though it is that version of Clayface, monster version. I don't know. It's been a few days since I watched it. It's been a little over a week, actually, because this is one of the things we were supposed to talk about last week. So I don't remember exactly if they even give his name at all or if they just refer to him as Clayface after a certain point. They don't refer to him as anything for a while because they don't give their names because Suicide Squad. But yeah, eventually you find out that it's Clayface, and he has a lot of really interesting abilities in this iteration, especially considering when they go to the other universe. So that's kind of the basic premise of an Isekai, I guess. It's a Japanese story where you go into another universe and something along those lines. I kind of got a little fuzzy on the details. I'm just here for the ride, man. But either way, this is a lot of fun. I'm having a hell of a lot of time, a hell of a lot of fun watching it on Max is where it is. And very interested, that's what I was saying. Sorry, brain fried. Very interested to see where they go with the villains that they have teased that we're going to be seeing. So far, we got to see Ratcatcher. He's not part of the Suicide Squad. He's one of the Suicide Squad was sent in to get. But then we've also been teased with Ivy, with Croc. We have, what's her name? Not Katana. Whatever. The one with the sword that has the souls of her ancestors. She's kind of playing a role, whereas the others are being teased. There are a number of others that are being teased for the rest of the season, but yeah, I would not be surprised if this runs for probably 3 seasons, much like most good Japanese animes. Like, it's gonna run until it's finished its story, and I think they've got about 3 seasons, legitimately 3 seasons of story, based on the villains that they have revealed, that they've teased, and based on where we're at with the series now and, you know, how long it's taken us to get here. I bet we're going to see 2 to 3 seasons of this, and I'm here for it. It's absolutely worth it. It's a lot of fun to watch. Go check it out. Invincible has come to an end this season, and oh yeah, so this is what I was hoping for. This episode, the final episode, to a degree. The big thing here, the big glaring issue with the final episode of this season of Invincible was there was no Omni Man. The last time we saw Omni Man was 3 episodes prior in the post-credit stinger, so like very, very briefly. I know we had a lot to talk about with the Mark and Cecil thing, and they had to do that ridiculous setup and just completely pull a lot of people out of this season, and the ratings are kind of reflecting that, sadly. I still think this is a great show. I just think that some of the stuff that's gone on this season was really poor writing. So, but it would have been cool to have actually... Oh, that's right. So, Conquest was delightfully evil. Like, delightfully evil. Jeffrey Dean Morgan just does great things. I really, really like his portrayal of villains. I think he's good at it. And still, somehow, they were able to give that character nuance. So Kirkman is doing wonderful things with the writing. He's changing things, very specifically changing things from the comic to the anime, to the series, because he thinks he can do it better. I think, aside from the issues that we've already talked about this season, he's absolutely right about that. So there's that. And also, it would have been super cool to have actually gotten to see Spawn and Savage Dragon in this episode, because in the comic book version of this episode, we got to see Spawn and Savage Dragon, so that's pretty dope. But that didn't happen here because rights are a thing. So yeah, either way, I think this is positive sign of what's to come in season 4, but we'll see. Next is Righteous Gemstones. Good Lord. I really think the only reason I'm still watching this show is because I started it, because it's not really enjoyable anymore. Once you fully remove the John Goodman character, the anchor to the levity, which by and large they've done. He's plays such a minor role that he's not even in some of the episodes really at all. I feel like once you do that, like, you have no more grounded element. It's just ridiculousness for the sake of ridiculousness, and it hurts the brain a bit, not gonna lie. Yeah, unless you're a Danny McBride fan, unless you really dig Danny McBride's sense of humor, this is not doing much for you. Next up is Daredevil. I finally started watching Born Again. I'm 2 episodes deep. I know we are 5 episodes deep as far as the release schedule goes. And then this coming week, we will be 7 episodes deep, because it's going to be another 2-episode release. Or will that put us up to 8? Am I 4 behind? Wow, I might be 4 behind. Either way, I've seen episodes 1 and 2. This is the opening of this is kind of what I'm hoping, and I know from what I've read and from what I've heard from others that it's not exactly this, but I'm still holding out hope that we get more of that feeling of the opening of this first episode, because that's largely what the Netflix show was. And I didn't necessarily think they were going to have such a similar tone, but they really have a very similar tone. The cinematography is fairly different because Disney versus Netflix. We got a lot more dark and grime from the Netflix, and we get a little bit more production value and light from Disney. So that's definitely notable. Like, you can see that difference. I think that the writing so far, again, only 2 episodes deep. I know broad strokes of what's happening ahead of where I'm watching, so I'm trying not to spoil much, but as far as the writing goes, it feels pretty solid. I think that they are kind of having to do some gymnastics in order to work around the original version of what they were going to release that they started filming. So there's certain things that they kept from that they had to then work into this in order to get it in on time, and so on and so forth. So that's created a couple of hiccups that you can kind of feel, but then also trying to match tones with what the fans are expecting and what Disney is willing to do. There's a little bit of an issue with gapping that bridge as well. So aside from that, though, I think they're really spot on. I think that season 2, if they keep going in this direction, is just going to be that much better. I reserve the right to change my mind, though, by the time we hit the end of this season. As it stands at the end of episode 2, though, I absolutely say yes. More, please. And then I totally forgot that, and so it's not in the notes, but I'll write it down so I don't forget to edit it in, but Harley Quinn had another freaking episode. This time, though, I'm 100% sure it is the last episode of the season. And again, like I said, for the previous 2 episodes, it felt like they were steering the ship back on course, and 100% believe that by the time we see them again in the next season, that this show will be back to where it was with seasons 1 and 2. Because seasons 1 and 2 were great. Everything that's come out since seasons 1 and 2 has been mediocre at best. And this last episode, we got back. I mean, they're still using Batman as a punchline. They're still dehumanizing Bruce, because that is the funny thing to do, because forever Bruce has been like the focus of DC related projects. Bruce Batman. But the way they were doing it for the rest of this season previous, and also the seasons 4 and 5, is that right? 3 and 4 rather, is just totally like demasculating, just absolutely tearing apart that character and making him into just totally broken. Like, that's kind of one of the things that makes him an interesting character when you're doing the real version of Batman, is that he is so broken, and the way that he's dealing with being broken, because he acknowledges it and he's unaware of it. But yeah, that's one of the dynamics of the character, but they just hyper focus on that and make that the point of every joke when you're talking about Bruce. It got old really fast 2 seasons ago. So they're still kind of making those jokes by the end of this, but it feels like he's become a little bit more of a character in this. So the jokes hit differently, and I definitely have an appreciation for that. Episode 10 just felt better, just generally felt better. So I still think you can probably skip season 4 entirely and half of season 5 and get to this episode and you go, oh, I didn't really miss anything at all. Cool. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. And that is what just happened. As far as coming events, we have concerts coming up soon. On the 1st of April, we're going to see not Portishead, the vocalist for Portishead. I can't think of her name. And then we have, that's still a month out, so we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, in the coming weeks, we have a concert that we're going to be talking about. The lead singer from Portishead is doing a solo tour, and I'm super excited about that. We have shows that are going, White Lotus is going to be finishing. I will probably get to the end of Suicide Squad Isekai and also the end of Daredevil before we talk again. So there's that. And I think that's all that is coming up for me. I'm going to pass it off to you though, nerds. What has happened for you this week? What are you anticipating? What art have you interacted with over the course of the last couple of weeks? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's do the thing. That's what the comment section is for. That's what the social media is for and all that. So thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. That is where we're calling this episode. Don't forget to do the like and subscribe thing, because that is the only way that this gets out there. That, and you tell people, tell everyone share the show all over, that this is a place to go for community building and things, because that's what we're trying to do here. So appreciate you for sticking around, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's genuinely nerdy, it's probably here, and that just happened.